Why is this happening? Oh, hold on. I need headphones.
Hello, everybody who's joining us. If you're joining us now, oh, here we are. Julia, we are streaming. Okay, I think that we are streaming now, but we are having a few technical difficulties.
Why am I muted? I don't know. I don't know why my computer is muting me. I feel like sometimes when I first click on and say that, like, if I click the wrong setting, then it just like mutes me. I know. Why is it doing this?
You're not muted. I can hear you fully.
Oh, it's showing up that I'm muted on here. Oh.
That's because it's the other computer. The stream is live. It is happening.
Wait, it is?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I am very confused about what's going on.
I think you're signed in on the Bookstop computer.
Okay.
As well, and that's why it's showing up twice. And the correct, yes, yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. So I guess if anybody is joining us, thank you for bearing with us as we get those technical difficulties worked out. And we are, I think, ready to rock and roll.
I think. Okay. I think I know it's. The two screens is really blowing my mind right now. Sorry, everyone. The technology is difficult. Okay, I think that you should be able to see this, and now I'm going to go into presentation. Is this accurate?
Yes.
Okay. And I just want to pull up my notes and get that out of the way. Okay. We ready, Kristen?
We are ready.
Okay. Oh my gosh, wow. What a way to start a thing. Okay, this is our showcase of all the things coming out this fall that we're really excited about. We're going to start talking first about cookbooks. We picked out some books that really span the world, different types of cuisines that we hope you guys will be excited about too. So first we have some general cookbooks. The Chicken Soup for Manifesto by Jen Lewis is just different chicken soup recipes from cultures around the world. Then we also have Milk, Spice, and Curry Leaves, which is Sri Lankan cuisine, inspired by the author's childhood. And then finally, we have a really cool vegan book called Vegan with Bite. It has easy vegan recipes with tips and ideas for how to make it a lifestyle eating choice. And here are some spreads from those books. So we've got, this is the curry leaves. There's a winter squash. Then in the chicken soup book, we've got laksa here, this delicious green chili. And I really liked this from the Vegan with Style, where she says that cooking is not always relaxing, therapeutic. Sometimes you just got to get food out on the table. So that's kind of the style of that Vegan with Bite book that I love. And this is very delectable looking roast cauliflower for all you vegan fans. Okay. Then There's two Food Network stars who have cookbooks coming out that we're really excited about. Alex Bernicelli and Ina Garten. I thought it was really cool that Alex has a new book coming out. I love her recipes. Fun fact, I once got to meet her very famous cookbook mother when I was interviewing for a job at W.W. Norton. It was intriguing. Ask me about it sometime. And then Modern Comfort, the new book by Ina Garten. Penguin Random House is doing a cool thing where if you sign up or if you send them your receipt of the book when you pre-order it, they are sending you an index of all of her recipes across all 12 of her books. So if you're a big Ina fan, you might be interested in grabbing that. And then we have some spreads again from those. So Tri-Spake Honey Nut Squash from Alex Bernicelli's book and a Swiss roll. And then from Ina's, this delicious tomato goat cheese crostata. And this, which I felt like was the most Ina thing ever, the Maine lobster stew. It looks really good. And then some baking books. If anyone else has gotten really into baking lately, or maybe you always have and need some new stuff to try out your skills, we've got A Good Bake and The Good Book of Southern Baking. A Good Bake really goes into the science of baking, why the recipes work. And then the Good Book of Southern Baking is just going to be all your Southern staples. I believe there are something like 7 biscuit recipes in this book, so you can try them all and see which one is best and why. And here are some examples of what's in there. So that's from A Good Bake. And this, you can see you'll get like really great instructions on how to make each step visually. And this is from the Southern Baking. We've got sticky buns and very iconic lemon pound cake. Okay, and then we're really excited about these witchy cocktail books and The Wicked Baker. We've actually tried one of the cocktails from Witchcraft Cocktail. We did it, Danielle, Kristen, and I made one. It was very fun. We followed the ritual and everything. TBD whether it worked. But this one's cool. It's laid out by season, and then each recipe includes like the ritual you should do with it, as well as some elements for additional magic. And then the potions and elixirs is laid out by function of recipe, and it also includes some non-alcoholic drinks. And then the Wicked Baker is Helena Garcia, who, if you're a Great British Bake Off fan, you might remember. She always did the very ghoulish type decorations for her bakes on that show. And we, as a group, love her here. So we're really excited to see her book come out in time for Halloween, especially. And this is some samples. This black hat is from the Witchcraft Cocktails, Prosperous Pumpkin. Then this is from Helena's book, this Jacko Frost vegan coconut cake, and these double chocolate hot wet buns. And then finally, here's a spread from the Elixirs book. It's got a more infographic feel to it and a little retro style. All right. And then a few books for maybe the foodie in your life if you're looking for a present or something. There's a new book coming out, Julia Child's Sayings and Other Wisdom. The Food for Thought is an anthology of poetry, fiction, and essays about food from classic authors. And then The Man Who Ate Too Much is a biography of James Beard. And it really dives into his correspondence and the perception of James Beard today versus how he was perceived when he was at the height of his popularity during his life, as well as the individual behind the public persona. Okay, and then we have some cookbooks for kids. Disney Eats and The Junior Chef. Disney Eats has recipes that recreate Disney characters, and they're just really fun. And the Healthy Junior Chef is recipes for aspiring young chefs, so they should be practicable for younger folks. So this is from the Healthy Junior Chef, this delicious looking hummus with this chip dippers, and then the sweet potato tacos. And then from the Disney book, there's a sample of a ratatouille meal, which was so fun, and a little Olaf bento box, which I love. Okay, and I believe this is our final section in the cookbooks. We just wanted to highlight some of the holiday baking stuff we have coming in. So we've got literary holiday cookbook. It has it's divided up by season and holiday, like Christmas with the March Sisters, some fall time feast with the Legend of Sleepy Hollow as inspiration, and other famous classics like that. Then modern gingerbread really goes into techniques of how to make gingerbread, but also crafting with gingerbread. So it is part craft book, part cookbook. Then Christmas with Southern Living is obviously the trusted brand's yearly publication of Christmas tips and tricks and make ahead ideas. And then the Jewish holiday baking goes through all holidays in the Jewish calendar, but it focuses on Middle Eastern and European recipes with creative twists. And it's got lots of detailed instructions and explanatory photos. And then Christmas Cookie Cookbook has a ton of easy to follow recipes. There's also vegan and gluten-free recipes in there. And then the Vegan Holiday Cookbook is obviously all vegan, seasonal classics done with vegan ingredients. So here's some spreads from those, just so you can get a sample of what they look like. This turkey roulade is from the March Sisters Christmas dinner, as are the Duchess potatoes. And these are some decorating essentials from the gingerbread book. As you can see, there's lots of detail she goes into how to get the wonderful designs to make the gingerbread cookies. And this is some bake and take snack ideas from Southern Living. And these are some peppermint bark cookies from the Christmas Cookie Cookbook. And this is from the Vegan Holiday Classics. This is the pecan and mushroom Wellington. Yeah. And now I believe Kristen's taking over for some classic editions.
Indeed, I am. Okay, so let me know. Get our slides pulled up and my notes pulled up at the same time. Okay, you can go to the first slide, Julia. Okay. So first up on our new editions and classics and special editions, and some of these are going to be some great kind of fan fodder, and others are just some very nice special editions, but we'll go through all of them. So first up, Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. So this is an anniversary edition hardcover reissue of the first book in the Wheel of Time series. It's been 30 years since the first publication of that. If you aren't familiar with the Wheel of Time series, it's legends and fade into myth. But I know so many people who have read this and who love Robert Jordan, are completely obsessed with the series. It's a sweeping saga that goes through tribes of half beasts, half men, and kind of good fighting evil type of story, with some really, really, really meaty storylines and great heroes. Can you tell I'm tired? Sorry. Okay. So this goes on sale October 6th. It features a redesigned jacket art. It also has a new introduction from Brandon Sanderson. And there are beautiful end papers in 4-color of the world maps of the universe of the Wheel of Time, as well as there's a stamp and a ribbon bookmark. Okay, the next one is Dune, the graphic novel, which comes out on November 24th. So this is the first book in the Dune series as a graphic novel. They will be doing 3 volumes adapted from the original work. And just as a side note, there is a 2-film live-action production coming from Legendary Entertainment. This same director who directed Blade Runner 2049 and Arrival. And it will be starring Timothée Chalamet and Zendaya, among other folks. That should come out December 18th of this year. Unclear if it's going to be theatrical release or home release, but that's exciting nonetheless. And we also do have we will probably also have in a super deluxe boxed version of the Dune books, which will be up on our website later, closer to the publication, just as an FYI for our Dune fans. Next, Storm of Swords comes out on November 3rd. This is sadly not a new book from George R.R. Martin, but it is a beautifully illustrated edition of the third book in the Song of Ice and Fire series, publishing for the 20th anniversary of the initial publication. Next up, a Shakespeare Motley, which publishes on September 1st. This is inspired by the Shakespeare Birthplace Trust collection. It's an illustrated miscellany, basically. It has facts, definitions, and quotes, all related to Shakespeare. It's an A to Z guide, great gift, and it also poses some interesting questions about the works of Shakespeare, and poses some good applications for conversation starters, basically. And it is also illustrated throughout. Next up, staying with Mr. Billy Shakespeare, Shakespeare for Every Day. This comes out on November 24th. This is super cool. It's a 365 passages from Shakespeare, so something for every day. That should appeal to people who are, very well versed in Shakespeare, or somebody who's just coming to learn about Shakespeare and Shakespeare's works. The introductory passages accompany each chapter, and it is also has a very beautiful interior. Lots of picture-worthy pages that you'll want to share with friends. And yes, I already said, okay, November 24th is when that comes out. Okay, the next two are pretty straightforward, just beautiful deluxe hardcover editions of classics. We have Dracula coming out on September 8th, Alice in Wonderland coming out on November 3rd. And then finally, Letters to a Young Poet. This comes out on November 10th. Letters to a Young Poet by Rainer Maria Rilke. Rilke was a poet. He lived he was born in 1875, and so he died in the mid-20s. But he was, if you're not familiar with him, just an amazing poet. But also has this collection of letters that are typically published in 2 volumes. It's often taught in high school. That's where I first encountered it. And it's just these beautiful letters that Rilke wrote to. I believe he was a soldier. Capus was a military officer who had written Rilke basically asking, how do I become a master poet like you? And they struck up this beautiful correspondence that touches on, the craft of writing, as well as just personal development and, trying to find your path in life. So this is a very exciting publication because it's joining together the 2 volumes that are typically published separately, as well as incorporating letters that previously were thought to be lost. So excellent edition. I'm so excited about this. Great gift for your writerly friends, or just for yourself if you just need a good pick-me-up, because it's a very inspiring book. Okay, I think, and then next, that's it for that. Yeah, next slide. Thank you. Okay. Some timeless tales in some gorgeous new digs that is very appropriate for these 3 books. First, we have Wicked, which will come out on September 29th. I cannot believe it's been 25 years since Wicked came out, but it has. And here we are. And so to celebrate it, it's this beautiful hardcover edition that just has all the bells and whistles, some special content, new content, and an essay on fantasy by Gregory Maguire. So that comes out on the 29th of September. Next, Love in the Time of Cholera by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. This will come out on October 13th. This is a truly beautiful packaging. Never before seen illustrations by Chilean artist Luisa Rivera, and an interior design that was actually created by the author's son, Gonzalo Garcia Barca. And next, and finally, for the repackaged section, we've got Pride and Prejudice, which will release on September 15th. This is the complete novel with 19 letters from characters' correspondence written and folded by hand. So it's the full book, and then within it, you have these beautiful, it's a very tactile book. There are letters that you can actually take out, and they're in these like plasticine little pockets throughout the book. And there are 19 removable replicas of the letters. So we're all very excited about this one. A great gift. And next up, thank you. These are fun from the Tolkien universe. First, recipes from the world of Tolkien. So we'll go back to cookbooks for just a second. So this is just straight fun. It has recipes from the world of Tolkien, as the title suggests, but obviously trying to use modern ingredients and modern culinary techniques. So don't worry, you're not like going to be eating orc food or anything. It should be a delightful, second breakfast and a Ledensies afternoon tea recipes for all our lovely hobbits. It includes recipes for all 6 Tolkien mealtimes. Has facts throughout. It does use American measurements, which is nice unless you have a kitchen scale, which I highly recommend if anybody doesn't have one already. And this comes out on October 13th. Okay. And it also, sorry, I forgot to mention, it has ideas for Lord of the Rings parties within it, which is just so fun to think about throwing like a little Hobbit hole party. Okay, finally leaving the Tolkien section, we just have these 3 reissues of the History of Middle-earth parts 1, 2, and 3 that will release on October 6th. These are like super duper deluxe, fancy editions. The pictures that the publisher sent don't really do them justice. These are $80 editions that have, it brings together all of the first 5 volumes that were originally published of the History of Middle-earth. And there was one other thing I wanted to mention about this. Nope, okay, I covered it all. Wonderful. Okay. There is an Amazon Prime TV series that'll be airing in fall 2021 that will be set in Middle-earth.
Excellent. Sorry. Great. Okay, so we're going to interrupt a classic section just really quickly to tell you about a pre-order feature we're doing, which is Piernissi by Susanna Clarke. You may have heard us talk about this before. Susanna Clarke wrote many years ago Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. So you may be a fan from that. This is her newest book. She hasn't written anything in 10 years, I think. It's very, very different from Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, but it still has her like tone to it. It's definitely not at all what I was expecting when I read it, but it's also hard to define. But as you're reading it through the perspective of Piernissi, although that isn't his name and he knows it's not his name, however, he can't remember what his real name is. He's cataloging the world he lives in, which is like, it sort of seems like a museum or something. It's like this big house, which he calls a house with a capital H. And there's all these statues that he thinks are telling him about the past. So he's trying to catalog all the statues to figure out his history. He records, he has journals that he uses and he indexes his journals. He's so meticulous until he finally realizes that he actually is missing a portion of his journals. And he has to figure out what happened. So when I was reading it, I was both confused and enthralled. It's the world that Collins makes is so haunting and strange. And it seems something familiar, but you're not sure if this is a real place or a fantastical one, what the rules are or what the statues are of. So it's like this puzzle that you're trying to figure out with Piernissi until it just becomes inevitable that you find the truth. It's in a beautiful, beautiful package. Can't tell from the picture, but all the gold bits on it are embossed. And I definitely recommend it. We do have one sample. So the first, the last pre-order that goes in will get that sampler package. The book comes out on September 15th. And I just want to see what's that. Okay. I'm going to talk about these new classic editions for young adult and children. I just want to mention that the new Roald Dahl Matilda, it's an illustrated edition. So it's going to have these really beautiful pictures throughout. Also want to mention Anna and the French Kiss is a collector's edition. It includes new page markers, pretty end papers, and bonus content from the author with annotated map of Paris. Shadow and Bone collector's edition. Also, it comes in a beautiful slipcase with a ribbon pull and has additional content. And Shadow and Bone is going to be, the Grisha universe is coming to Netflix, I believe, which we'll cover in our adaptation section. And Caraval is a similar collector's edition setup where it's in this pretty slipcase cover. It has some bonus content, some of scenes from Julian's point of view, and the original ending, which is not the ending that ended up in the book, as well as Stephanie Garber's writing journals and a sneak peek at the next book in the set in the world of Caraval. And then we have Because of Winn-Dixie, this anniversary edition has an introduction by Anne Patchett, and then just a new package, beautiful edition of The Little Prince, which is the favorite for gift-giving times. And quickly, just wanted to mention, some of these are out already, and some of them are coming out later this fall, but this is a new series by Penguin. It's called B Classics. They're meant for middle grade readers, so 8 to 12-year-olds. They are the full book, but they have new introductions by contemporary authors, as you can see, Gail Foreman, Matt Barnett, Lori Halsey Anderson, S.E. Hinton, Brutus Septis, and Judy Bloom. So if you're looking for classics or you're needing just like easy little gifts, they're inexpensive paperbacks, but they've got a beautiful minimalist cover and some nice new content in the forward. All right, and then these are just fun. They'd be fun little gift things. They're classic cat stories, classic dog stories. Some of the they're from famous classic authors, short stories about cats and dogs, respectively. So some of the contributors in the dog edition are Mark Twain, Virginia Woolf, Jack London, Rudyard Kipling, and in the cat edition, some of the same people, but also Charles Perrault, H.P. Lovecraft, which I'm intrigued about, Edgar Allan Poe. So those are those. I'm going to turn it over to Kristen again for sleep at the. Oh, Olivia, there you are. Sorry, go ahead, Kristen.
Thank you, Julia. Okay, so To Sleep in a Sea of Stars by Christopher Paolini. He is back. Julia, we are seeing your keyboard shortcuts on the screen. There we go. Okay. So yes, Christopher Paolini. So this is very exciting. This book comes out on September 15th, and we will have signed copies. This is a brand new epic novel from Paolini, who wrote Aragon as well, which is something that you will have probably been aware of, I would think. Okay, so this is a space opera, which is a little bit of a different style for him. It's his first foray into adult fiction. So this is for adults. This is not for kids. It probably could be read by young adults, but definitely not for the children, for the babies. So what's happening in To Sleep in a Sea of Stars? Our main character, Kira Navarez, she has always dreamed of life in new worlds. And then suddenly she wakes up and realizes she's in a total nightmare. She's gone on a routine survey mission on an uncolonized planet, and she finds an alien relic. At first, she's very excited, but then all of this ancient dust that's around her begins to move. Eventually, after this discovery, war erupts, and Kira has to go on just truly a galaxy-spanning odyssey to find out that first contact wasn't actually all that she imagined to be. Yep, that is To Sleep in a Sea of Stars. Okay,
excellent.
Julia, if you are talking, I think you're muted. There you go.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, you were. Yeah, it's just muted.
Okay, cool. We just wanted to mention these. We're excited. We have a few some new Spanish editions available to us. So we're bringing in these two classic Spanish editions. They're also illustrated. So you have some beautiful illustrations. They're out. Lovely. All right. And then Mythology is always a big favorite around this time of year for people getting gifts for kids or adults. These ones, I wanted to mention, this is cool. If you see this, it comes with a little flashlight and you put in there, and it's so you use the flashlight to see the different creatures in each thread. I don't know exactly how that works in practice because we don't have the book yet, but it sounds super cool. And then I want to also highlight Beneath the Moon. It's universal retellings of 78 divine stories, legends and myths from around the world, each accompanied by gorgeous illustrations from acclaimed artist Yoshi Yoshitani. And then the other three are just new packages of classical Greek mythology, Journey Through Greek Myths, and classical mythology A to Z, which is more of an encyclopedia, obviously. And then, DK's Guide to Mythical Beasts and Magical Creatures. So you have people in your life who love that sort of thing, maybe keep these on your radar for options for later this year. And then we have, this is me again, Still Kristen, right? A Deadly Education.
I think it's actually me.
Okay. We're very prepared.
We are. We're just very tired and very excited about all of these books. So we just want to both talk about all of them. Okay, so A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. We do have some special sampler books of these, which we will keep an eye out on Instagram over the next 2 weeks. And check our Instagram stories for some chances to win some of these special little books. Okay, but what is this book? This is a very it's hard. It's actually hard for me to describe, but I do have my notes. I was going to try and do it completely from memory, but there's just too much. I can't. Okay. So from New York Times bestselling author of Uprooted and Spinning Silver comes the story of an unwilling dark sorceress who is destined to rewrite the rules of magic. Elle Higgins is a magician with a talent for destruction and predisposition to mass violence, which makes her life at the Scholomance even more perilous. And that is saying something for a school where the only survivors graduate. It is a very addictive read, and it's even good for people who think they don't like fantasy. It's also great for people who loved The Night Circus, who liked The Magicians, The Discovery of Witches, and A Darker Shade of Magic. This comes out on September 29th. And now the next slide is also me. So can go to the next slide. Okay.
Sorry, is it me? Is it you? It's you.
No, it's me. It's me. Yeah. So this is just a slide full of fun and delight. I am obsessed with all of these books. So first up, Children's Literary Christmas comes out on November 24th. This is a treasure trove of seasonal stories about elves, snowmen, reindeer, festive traditions, and more. That's it. I just think it's delightful and beautiful. This is from the British Library, so it's going to be high quality. Okay, number 2, Snow White, Make Your Own Fairy Tale. So this is blending a classic fairy tale with like a choose your own adventure type of story. And yeah, it's just tons of fun. The next one, Poisoned Apple, which comes out on October 6th. This is like a humorous take on Snow White, where she gives She gives away the apple that the witch gave, where Snow White gives away the apple that the witch gave her. And it has a changing point of view, and then tells the story from the witch's perspective as well. So that's just fun. Finally, The Reluctant Dragon, which comes out on October 13th. This is a re-release. It tells the tale of the boy, capital B, capital T, who is not at all surprised to find a dragon living in the hillside. Naturally, the two soon become fast friends. And when St. George arrives to battle the dragon, who he is sure is, a total danger to the countryside, the boy and the dragon and the saint have a contest to see who's going to come out on top, and it has a twist. There's a twist, and that is it on Fairytale Lit for kids.
Also, sorry, I have to keep switching back and forth. I did not get everything set up as really desired. So much. Okay, now we're talking about spooky things for Halloween. These are going to be, we get inordinately excited, I think, about Halloween here. Okay, these are some nonfiction stuff. First, we've got this Ghostology book, which actually, sneak alert, it comes out next week and it's already come in, and it's super cool. This jewel thing in the center is an actual jewel. It's got lots of neat little additions in it, flaps, booklets, and other intriguing novelties. And it's sort of, as you read through it, you kind of start to wonder whether this book is actually haunted by its deceased author. Intriguing. And then the Book of Exorcisms is one of the Penguin Classics books. They also had like the Penguin Book of Witches. Later in this show, you will see the Penguin Books of Christmas stories. Anyway, it goes through all exorcisms through the centuries around the world, from ancient Egypt to the biblical Middle East and colonial America and 20th century South Africa. And then the cursed objects, as you can see, it's strange but true stories of the world's most infamous items. So just a fun little factoid type book with a cool package. Then we have some stuff for young adults and children. Kiddos like to be scared. So first, Vampires Never Get Old is a funny, I don't think the stories are funny, but it's just a funny tongue-in-cheek title. It's a lot of well-known young adult authors have written short stories about vampires. For example, Donnell Clayton. There's also E. Schwab on there. So yeah. Julie Murphy has one. Oh my God. Anyway, it sounds really fun. So if you can't ever get enough vampires, that is the book for you. Then Don't Turn Out the Lights is a companion type book to Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. And it also includes some very, very creepy illustrations, just like the original one. And finally, Cinders and Sparrows is the new book out by Stephen Bachman. He wrote a book series a few years ago called The Peculiar. And this one is also creepy, but about finding family in the end. It's about a young girl who gets... Sorry, there was a wind gust. A girl, she gets noticed that she's an orphan and that she has been claimed by this very wealthy and well-known witching family. So she goes to claim her inheritance, and she finds a bit of a mystery and more than she bargained for. But she learns to trust herself along the way and becomes a witch. And it's really fun. A great book for October, which comes out, I believe, October 6th-ish, but don't quote me on that. And I'm going to hand it over to Kristen for the next one.
Thank you, Julia. I could not be more excited about this book. You may have seen an Instagram post, a couple Instagram posts that I made both on my personal Instagram and on the store Instagram with a picture of this book and my dog. I loved this book so much that I tracked down a copy of the book that originally inspired it, which was published in, I want to say 1902. It's called The Story of Mary McLean. But it was originally called, oh goodness, sorry, I didn't write this part down. It was originally called I Await the Devil's Coming. So some quick background. Mary McLean it was a woman, a memoirist who at 19 published her memoir, I Await the Devil's Coming, which the publisher then, without her knowledge, retitled The Story of Mary McLean. And it's essentially her diary from the turn of the century. And she's a young woman who, she wants all of the world. And the world does not want to give it to her. And she's very vocal about that in very, very evocative, explicit language. And then on top of that, there's also a great thread of where it seems like she's having an affair with one of her professors, who is a woman, which of course was not particularly thought well of at the turn of the century. So, but we're not talking about that book. We're talking about Plain Bad Heroines, which is a novel by Emily M. Danforth. She also wrote oh gosh, what was the name of it? Oh my gosh, sorry, I had this. The Miseducation of Cameron Post, which was a young adult novel. Sorry about that. So she found, she stumbled across a story of Mary McLean and was inspired to write a story about, what if you were a young woman at that time, kind of in a space that isn't going to be conducive to who you really want to be in so many different ways. And what came out of that thought process was a delicious and delightful, dark horror, gothic comedy, just all wrapped up into one. So it's basically the plot. What happens when you mix a cursed boarding school that shuttered in 1902, a feature film production, and the spirit of Mary McLean, who maybe invoked the devil and made a pact with the devil, maybe. What do you get when you mix all of those? You get this book. This is contemplative, satirical, touching, terrifying, and in it, Emily Danforth has created a world that is at once ominous and threatening. It'll also make you just want to stay there as long as you can. It's just, I really can't say enough good things about it. This is going to be good for people who do just like a good gothic horror, but also some tongue-in-cheek literary humor as well. There's some really funny footnotes throughout, and really original illustrations that we are using these illustrations have inspired a few different pieces of swag that you get for pre-ordering. So we'll be doing a print, a letterpress print, hand pressed by yours truly. And then my husband got very into this as well, and he is going to be 3D printing some bookmarks inspired by the hornets that make constant appearances in this book and are very menacing. And yeah, I really can't say enough about it. If you want to talk to me more about it, I would love to, because I'm obsessed with it. And this comes out on October 20th. And then the next slides are still me. Okay. Yay. Keeping on the spooky theme, the witchy woman theme, I guess, really is what it is. First, we have The Scapegracers, which comes out on September 15th, in which an outcast teenage lesbian witch finds her coven hidden amongst the popular girls in her school, and performs some seriously badass magic in the process. Great quote from Kat Howard, who wrote An Unkindness of Magicians. She said that this is a dark, twisty, witchy book I've always wanted. Hannah's writing is brilliant and gorgeous and firework bright, which is just, what else could you, can't ask for that, can't pay for that kind of praise. Okay, the next one is The Once and Future Witches, which has, I think, one of my favorite covers of 2020. This comes out on October 13th. This is by Alex E. Hiro. It is a, quote, love letter to folklore and the rebellious women of history. That's how Publishers Weekly describes it. in the late 1800s, three sisters used witchcraft to change the course of history in this Hugo Award-winning author's powerful novel of magic amid the suffragette movement, which is just terribly exciting and very pertinent and timely for this year. Okay. Last but not least, certainly, the Book of Hidden Wonders, which might be my second favorite cover of this year, by Polly Crosby. It comes out on September 1st, so next week. It's a book of hidden wonders, extremely charming, imaginative debut novel about a young girl and her eccentric father, who hides within the pages of an illustrated book and a treasure hunt that will lead her to uncover a priceless secret about her family's past. This is reminiscent of, like quirky coming-of-age classics, like I Captured the Castle and The Peculiar Sadness of Lemon Cake. Quirky, bittersweet story. Lots of self-discovery. Great review on this from Claire Beams, who's the author of The Illness Lesson, which was a slightly darker book, more of a dystopian literary book. But she said, I felt as if I lived inside the Book of Hidden Wonders while I was reading it. Polly Crosby makes sensory magic here, conjuring images of such vividness that I saw and tasted and smelled and heard and felt them for myself. And I'll remember them always. I'll remember Romilly and her father too. I loved them deeply, and they filled and broke my heart. I want to read it right now. Okay. Next up, we're going to totally switch gears. That's super scary titles. If there was a way to, only be half sarcastic. So Secret Santa coming out on November 10th. This is The Office meets Stephen King, with like at an ugly sweater party kind of thing. So it's a horror comedy set in New York in the 1980s in the publishing world. And this is by Andrew Schaefer, who he wrote Hope Never Dies and Hope Rides Again, I think was the second one. Those were the Obama-Biden love story mystery thriller hilarious books. And you follow him on Instagram if you aren't already, because he's super, super funny. Okay. Next up, the Archive of the Forgotten, which comes out on October 6th. So this is the second installment of the series, which is the Library of Unwritten. And so basically, if you haven't read the first one, every book that isn't finished resides in the Library of the Unwritten in Hell. And there is a librarian and her crew. They protect the books. But of course, people want to get their hands on the books because they have some implications. So this story is set in both Hell and Valhalla, and then also modern day Seattle. And there's a new threat to the library. Of course, as there always is, because they're in Hell. Our marketing manager and bookseller Danielle read the first one and loved it. So ask Danielle for more information if you are interested.
Okay, gift ideas. We gave a few already, but these are some that we picked out that are particularly gifty. And I believe this is me right now, Kristen.
Yeah, that's you.
Good. Okay, so just really quickly, a few other like occultish things. We got this cute little palmistry set coming in. It shows you how to read palms. There's a Night Before Christmas tarot deck and a Women of Science tarot deck, which seems contradictory, but I'm intrigued. And then the Virgo Book of Witches, another little witchcraft book. Beautiful cover. Okay, and then we have some games and puzzles, which I don't know if people are puzzled out, but there's some really cool puzzles coming out in the fall, including a new flow puzzle, Home Sweet Home. This Nature Anatomy one goes along with the, there's a journal, Nature Anatomy, that's been out with Workman for a while. So this is the puzzle that accompanies it. Same with the Illustrated Crystallary. And then on the game side, we have this cool Murder Most Puzzling murder mystery book. So they're like case puzzles to solve. And then Date Night Dice, which is not for children. This is like a fun little, I don't know, you can you roll the dice. You don't have to roll all three, or you can roll just one or whatever to help you make a decision about like what you want to do on your date night. It's more meant for probably couples who've been together for a while. And then Forward Thinking is a fun, fast-paced word puzzle game that I really want to give a whirl with Kristen and Danielle. Is this still me?
No, it's me.
Okay.
Okay.
Onward.
So yes, onward. This is going to be real fast. So first we have the art book, which comes out November 10th. This is the next installment of the Big Ideas Explained series from DK. If you haven't explored the series, definitely do. They have something for just about every topic. And this is a grand tour of art history. It's extremely comprehensive, focusing on paintings from around the world. Has very, great insightful quotes and exquisite photography that just totally immerses you. It's chronologically organized, so it does really guide you through kind of art history in a really easy way, as it profiles more than 80 of the world's most important and remarkable works of art from sculptors and painters and artists from ancient history to the 21st century. Okay, one color a day sketchbook. This is just simple, meditative, something to do every single day, as it says. Just with a sketchbook, has a gridded layout and gets through each day, so you have a nice little painted capsule of your year. And that comes out in September. That comes out next week. As do the Pantone Notes Brights, which are on our top right. This is a set of cards. It's 20 cards and 20 envelopes of different Pantone colors. And finally, 200 words to help you talk about art, which comes out on October 27th. Have you ever felt at a disadvantage when joining in a conversation on a subject that you aren't confident about? If yes, this new book series is for you. And this is the first in the series. Two of them are publishing this year. And this is about art. So get you conversationally literate in art. Get this book. Or get it for your friend who you think is not conversationally literate in art, I guess. Okay. And next up, we have science, technology, and philosophy books. So the first one we're going to talk about is If Then by Jill Lepore, how the Simulatics Corporation invented the future. So in this book, New York Times bestselling author Jill Lepore tells the groundbreaking and untold story of the I'm going to say this wrong. Simulmatics? I don't know. Somebody correct me. Tell us in the comments how to pronounce it. Untold story of this corporation. It was a mid-20th century data firm that, through data, tried to basically control humanity. Great review of this from David Runciman, author of How Democracy Ends and Where Power Stops. He said this was, quote, hilarious, scathing, and sobering. What you might get if you crossed Mad Men with Theranos, which Theranos was the fake blood startup by that was just totally duping people. So I think that's a pretty telling review. Okay, next up, we have The Knowledge Machine, How Irrationality Created Modern Science. This comes out on October 13th. In the tradition of Karl Popper's The Logic of Scientific Discovery comes a 21st century synthesis illuminating how science became what it is today and why it took us so long to get here. Yes, I already said it comes out on October 13th. And next, the 200 words book on philosophy now. So on the previous slide, I talked about art. Now you can also become conversationally literate in philosophy. And that comes out on the same day, I believe, as 200 words of art. So that's next week. Nope, sorry, October. And finally, Braiding Sweetgrass, Indigenous Wisdom, Scientific Knowledge, and the Teachings of Plants. This comes out on October 13th. This is a collection of nature essays. It has some beautiful, beautiful, beautiful illustrations and are, like relief prints inside that are in color. And this is it's an updated edition. You may already have picked up Braiding Sweetgrass before, but this is an updated edition and has a new introduction from Robin Wall Kimmerer. It's being reissued for the 40th anniversary, and it's beautiful. And this is a linen stamped hardcover, so just really a nice gift and great to give any nature loving friends of yours, or again, just a gift for yourself. You should treat yourself. Cool. Okay, I believe the next one is still me. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. So first up, again, another one from Big Ideas Simply Explained, the history book. You're going to learn, they synthesize just all of history into this really great, well laid out book for anybody who is even tangentially, marginally interested in history. This is going to be a good addition. Next is Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari, the great Yuval Noah Harari. He has written Sapiens, Homo Deus, and multiple other books that explore the history of humanity and science and humans in science. And so this is a graphic novel, or not a graphic novel, but a graphic adaptation of Sapiens. It's hardcover with full color illustrations throughout it. So yes, it's the same book you know and love, but with some beautiful comic graphic strips throughout it. Okay. Oh, and this comes out on October 27th. And it will be in paperback as well. So it's only $25.99, which is very exciting. Okay, Gods at Play. This comes out on September 22nd. This is by Tom Callahan, an eyewitness account of great moments in American sports. Brimming with colorful vignettes and enlivened by Callahan's eye for detail, Gods at Play offers surprising portraits of the most celebrated names in sports, including Roberto Clemente when he clinches his 3,000th and final regular season hit in Pittsburgh. Then you go ringside with Muhammad Ali, and then going to Arthur Ashe announcing in a news conference that he tested positive for HIV, and people in between those actions and after and up to present. That's great for both your sports loving fan as well as just somebody who's interested in kind of more contemporary history. And that comes out on September 22nd. Agent Sonia, Moscow's most daring wartime. Oops, sorry, my notes got mixed up. Most daring wartime spy. This comes out on September 15th. This is a good choice for Eric Larson readers. In this book, Ben McIntyre reveals the story of the female spy hidden in plain sight who set the stage for the Cold War, one of the last real intelligence secrets of the 20th century. Also good for fans of Jean Le Carré, Alan First, and Charles Cumming. Apparently it reads, I haven't been privy to this book yet, but apparently it reads very much like fiction, but is definitely nonfiction and pretty shocking. Okay. Finally, JFK, Coming of Age in the American Century, 1917 to 1956, by Frederick Lugval. This comes out on September 8th. And in this, the Pulitzer Prize-winning historian takes us as close as we've ever been to the real JFK in the first truly definitive biography of this elusive 35th president. The quote that really kind of took me in was from somebody we just heard about her new book from Jill Lepore. She said that with JFK, Frederick Lugvall, sorry, I do that every time, has reinvented the genre of presidential biography, casting new light on the man and far more profoundly on the times. This is a brisk, authoritative, and candid biography and a wonderfully compelling history of America's heady and troubled mid-century rise. And that is it for our historian friends. And now I will hand it back to Julia.
Yes. So we've got some great books picked out for nature lovers. The first one, World of Wonders, is a collection of essays with accompanying illustrations. The author is an award-winning poet. This is her first bit of nonfiction, and it's all about how you can learn from the natural world. And then we have from the American Museum of Natural History, Birds of North America. So if you've got birders in your family, this is the book for them. It's just like it's another DK book, so it's very all-encompassing, full of images of the different birds you encounter in the North American continent. And then Wildness is the preservation of the world is another. It's photos and quotations type book. It's actually a reissue of a 1962 classic from the Sierra Club. So it's like a big coffee table book. It'd be a beautiful gift for someone at Christmas time. And like I said, this one has photographs, whereas World of Wonders has illustrations. And Kristen, I know this is my slide. I have some books to check out. Would you be able to take over on this for a sec? Sorry. Maybe. Hello. Okay, one moment. Okay, thank you. That was a brief interruption. Maybe everyone could grab a drink of water or something. Okay, so what we have next are some stuff on fashion and design. There is this lovely HRH book about the royal style through the decades, as you can see. Then we have the New Southern style, which is a decorating type book. So if you're looking for some interior design inspiration, you can take a look at that one. Then we have Plant Therapy, which is about designing your indoor space, though it is about designing it for specifically emotional well-being. So it gives you lots of tips on what types of plants to get for specific types of spaces. And finally, Home Stories. This is another book about how to design your home to make it feel like a home. But we also want to mention this one because the author is Southern as well. And so they live not too far from us in Atlanta, Georgia. All right. And then we have two books picked out for world traveling, which I know was not maybe on everyone's immediate to-do list, but for when we can safely travel again, we can start getting some amazing ideas together with something like Travel by Color from Lonely Planet. So I think a lot of people know the Lonely Planet books. They're usually about specific places. But this is really cool because it's organized by color palette. For example, you travel through Costa Rica's green rainforest, Australia's red desert, and Dubai's gold souk. And then there's tons of other destinations that are picked out specifically for their very, very vibrant colors. And also equally important is the Sustainable Travel Handbook. So this is for people, and it's also from Lonely Planet. this is for if you want to travel, but you want to do it conscientiously. What are the best ways to physically travel? What should you take with you? How can you enjoy learning about other cultures without adding to the environmental stress of the planet? And now I do think we are back to a slide for Kristen. Yeah.
Yes, sorry, I was muted, and I'm so sorry. I did start going over your slides before, but I didn't realize I was muted, and I deeply apologize. Okay, for that weird silence. Okay,
Hi,
for our favorite activist friends, we have 4 great options. Not just these. There's so many. These are just to highlight today. Like truly, there are so many great ones. Okay, first, Glory, Magical Visions of Black Beauty. This comes out on October 20th. This is a visionary, stunning, and inspirational and empowering, and in the vein of Strong is the New Pretty meets I Am Enough. Glory celebrates young Black children from all walks of life. And these are award-winning photographers, specifically of like childhood photographers, come on and Regis Bethencourt. Truly a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful book, coffee table style. Okay, number 2, Conversations with RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg in Life, Love, Liberty, and Law, which comes out November 3rd. This is the paperback release of this, came out in hardcover last year. The author is a law professor at George Washington University. If you weren't aware of the hardcover version, this is a unique and intimate look at the life and career of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg in her own words through an extraordinary series of conversations. Okay, next up, No One is Too Small to Make a Difference, Deluxe Edition. This comes out on October 13th. This is a great little book that has, it's a collection of the speeches of Greta Thunberg, the young climate activist who has really just become quite a voice and taken a lot of our leadership globally to task over climate change. So this is a deluxe edition of that paperback that was released last year. It's a lovely little gifty book, very short, great stocking stuffer. Okay, finally, we've got the Verso Book of Feminism, which comes out on October 20th. I'm very excited about this, an unprecedented collection of feminist voices from 4 millennia of global history. The Book of Feminism shows the breadth of the feminist protest and of feminist thinking, moving through female poets of China's Tang Dynasty and accounts of indigenous women in the Caribbean resisting Columbus's expedition, to British suffragists militating for the vote, and the revolutionary Petroleuses of the 1848 Paris Commune, the first century Trung sisters who fought for independence of Nam Viet, to women in 1980s Botswana fighting for equal protection under the law, and from erotica of the 6th century and the 19th century to radical queer politics in the 20th and 21st. It's truly an astounding collection, a weapon, a force, a lyrical cry, and an ongoing threat to misogyny everywhere. And yes, this comes out on October 20th. Okay. And is that me? Oh, and then the next, sorry, didn't realize the next one was me. Okay. A Place for Everything, The Curious History of the Alphabetical Order. So if you are somebody who just likes the history and like systems around just like very specific things, then this is for you. In this, social historian Judith Flanders shows how the codification of alphabetical order as an organizing principle is a relatively recent development. It's a concept that largely is in a response to how society used to routinely group people by social class, and then so you had to figure out something else when that wouldn't always work. It is very wry, and this comes out on October 20th. And then the Neil Gaiman Reader. So this is selected fiction by none other than Neil Gaiman. The Amazing Fantasy Writer. This comes out on September 23rd. This also has a foreword by Marlon James, which is very exciting. And it is actually curated by Gaiman's readers, actually, which is, it's just seems very Neil Gaiman to me, that he would want his fans to select what should be in his collection. It's very, very heartwarming. Okay. And that comes out on October 20th. And then The Lost in, wait, is this the look of the book? Sorry, I pulled up my wrong note.
I'm sorry, I went
sorry,
to,
the look
I
of
thought
the
you
book.
were, I don't know how to go back. There, sorry.
Sorry, yeah, the look of the book. Sorry, I just had the wrong note pulled up, but I have the right note pulled up now. Okay, look at the book. This is just a, this is a great coffee table book of jackets, covers, and art at the edges of literature. It's a book about books, but it also it has some articles as well, looking at why some covers work. Why do we judge a book by its cover? This will break it down in beautiful photography and imagery as well. This comes out on October 6th. Okay. Now we are on to the next one. So these feel goods and funnies. I think this is still me. What slide number are we on? 46. Yes, this is still me. Okay. Humans is the first on the list, by Brandon Stanton. This comes out on October 6th. This is another coffee table book. And this is a collection of hundreds of photos and stories from people around the world, from the creator of the wildly popular blog Humans of New York. Brandon Stanton spent 5 years traveling the globe to 40 countries and working with over 200 interpreters to gather stories about the state of the world today. And this is what the result was. Okay, next up, we have another book from Nathan W. Pyle, from Greetings from Strange Planet. This is wrong one. Greetings from Strange Planet. There's another one, the planner, obviously, that's on the page too, but where are we? Okay, so Greetings from Strange Planet. Sorry, this comes out on September 15th. If you're not familiar with the Strange Planet webcomic, please do yourself a favor and go check it out, because it's hilarious. And so these are some cards, paper overboard collection, and a postcard book. So you can remove the cards from the book, and they're just fun to send to people. And then there's also a planner that we have here on the page as well. Anybody also finds that they, when they're sad, they just want to look at pictures of cats? Because I definitely do. And so I will definitely be buying myself the next book on the list, Cute Animals for Hard Times. This comes out on September 15th. It's a nice little book, 6x6, fun, very gifty. Literally open any page and you'll be in a better mood. Just pretty puppies and kittens and sloths, making everybody happy. Finally, Cats in Art, which comes out on October 6th. So if you like the Cute Animals for Hard Times book, but you want to feel fancy, then you should get Cats in Art. This is a pop-up book, and a compilation of Susan Herbert's enchanting feline reimaginings of famous paintings brought to life. And it features 6 of the all-time best known of her work. It spans, she takes classic paintings from the 15th through the 19th centuries and puts cats in them at the center of them. So from Van Eyck paintings, Botticelli, just, what more can you ask for? Super fun. That comes out on October 6th. Okay. And next up, we have, finally, we have just really gifts for everybody. Some great kind of catch-all stuff that we'll go through. First Ride, The Greatest Cycling Routes in the World, comes out on October 6th. So anybody who likes to bike, this is a guide to the world's 50 most epic bike rides. Next, if you have any true crime lovers, then you'll want to get them the next book, Murder Maps, Crime Scenes Revisited, Phrenology to Fingerprint, 1811 to 1911. So 100 years of murders and investigations and forensic investigation. And it goes all over the world. It has really like fascinating ephemera throughout it. Like truly just, I am already very obsessed with this book. And it comes out on October 27th. And then Worldwide Vet by Dr. Evan Antin. He is a very arresting man. And holding, I just can't get over that cover. So I think if you know anybody who likes reptiles or likes really muscled men, you should get them this book. But in all seriousness, this is Worldwide Vet Encounters in the Animal Kingdom. This is a richly photographed book, lot like full color throughout, pictures of Dr. Anton's travels throughout the world as he goes in to heal different animals throughout the world. And he's People Magazine's pet vet. Comes out on October 27th. Then we've got two Star Wars favorites. So one, we have the Art of Star Wars, The Mandalorian, season 1. So this is just the art from the book. Great coffee table book, behind the scenes companion to the show. It includes concept art, character and costume sketches, and vehicle and creature designs. And then the Star Wars book. Come on. Sorry, my notes are not loaded. There we go. Okay, the Star Wars book, which comes out on October 20th. Expand your knowledge of a galaxy far, far away. So this is another great coffee table style book. If you want to comprehend the epic and intricate Star Wars saga, this is the book for you. Unique and insightful examination of the beloved franchise, and it includes Star Wars, Mandalorian, Clone Wars, and The Rise of Skywalker. And that's it for those ones.
Indeed. And now we have some other gifty sorts for children. First is the DK book, The Mysteries of the Universe, which you might have remember the Wonders of Nature or the Anthology of Intriguing Animals. This is the same series, but now they're looking at the universe. It's got tons of great photographs, aerial views of the planet, of other planets, tons of facts about them, and it's got a beautiful gilded edges, so the edges are in gold filigree, and then it has like a ribbon. So a ribbon marker that comes along with it. It's this big, beautiful gift book for kids who are super into science and space. And then similarly, Anatomicum is a comprehensive guide to the human anatomy. It has detailed illustrations from an anatomical artist and authoritative text written by Dr. Jennifer Z. Paxton, a professor of anatomy at the University of Edinburgh. Then it's cut to, first the kids, Britannica's new kids encyclopedia is fun for kids who like knowing all the facts. And then the history of everything in 32 pages is I mean, we have it in with the kids section. It's called juvenile fiction, but it could be for anyone. It does just each page is a spread on the topic, and it covers it comprehensively with diagrams and illustrations. It's a cool take on the history of everything. And then we also have life-size animal illustrations. We have kids who are super into wild animals, and it's not quite appropriate to get them the Worldwide Vet book, maybe. You can get them this one, which has cool illustrations of animals from all over. The language of the universe is about mathematics. And so it, again, could be for adults as well, but it is geared toward children. And it's got the same sort of illustrations that you see here on the cover going on throughout to explain different mathematical concepts. The Antiquarium sticker book is actually already out, but I just wanted to mention it because it's on the SIBA, the Southern Independent Booksellers Alliance gift catalog for this year. So it's cool. It's got 1,000 stickers that you can use to decorate, journals or make collages or what have you. And then finally, Voices of Justice is poems about people working for better lives is the subtitle. So it is just an anthology about these different activists in the world, highlighting what they're doing in poetry. Then we have some cool box sets that we just wanted to alert your attention to. You can see Dune out in a new trade paperback box set. Actually, this came out at the very end of August. We're just letting you know it's available if you have a Dune fan in your life that needs the whole collection. Then The Daughters of Smoke and Bone is out in a gift set with its new covers that look super cool and neon fresh, as is Cinder. The whole series will be out in the box set here with the new covers. The Daughter of Smoke and Bone, that'll be available December 1. And the Lunar Chronicles box set will be available October 13th. And then we have this Hokusai manga, which is a box set of his most famous works. It's called manga, but he was sort of considered a precursor to contemporary manga. Then we have some stuff for kids. So we have this cute little Big Ideas for Little Philosophers box set. This is condensing the philosophies of these 4 different thinkers into a little board book for young minds. Similarly, the Adventures is a nature theme. Each one is a nature themed book for young readers. This one technically isn't a box set, but you need a unicorn with the plush. This little set is coming out this fall as well. Then we have the Extraordinary Benedict Society box set coming out. It just had last year, the new one was released. And finally, the Magical Unicorn Society official box set will be available this fall as well. So lots of box sets you can think about getting for presents for kids in your life. And is this me again, Kristen, the adaptations?
The adaptations are me.
Okay.
Okay. So thank you. So just real quick, these are 4 books that have some specific more books. Anyway, we've talked about several that have that are going to movies or TV shows. First, Return to Virgin River, which publishes on October 13th. There's a Netflix series that it's based on the Virgin River novels, and that the debut of season 2 will be around the holidays. So check out Return to Virgin River before the season comes back. Next up, Tower of Fools comes out on October 27th. This is by the same author who wrote the Witcher series. This is not set in the Witcher world. It's a new historical fantasy series, but if you like the Witcher, you'll like the Tower of Fools. Lightning Mary comes out on September 1st of 2020. This is a fictionalized biography of Mary Anning, the first female English paleontologist and fossil collector. And there's a movie coming out with Kate Winslet and Saoirse Ronan about this, or adaptation of this. And also, I'm going to say this is my 3rd favorite cover of the year. Okay, finally, The Lives of Saints by Leigh Bardugo. This comes out on October 6th. And enter the world of Grishaverse and Shadow and Bone, soon to be a Netflix original series with this beautifully illustrated replica of The Lives of Saints. So even if you've already read The Lives of Saints, this is a great new addition. And if you haven't ever read it, then you can pick this up as you wait for this new series coming to Netflix in 2021. Okay.
Is it me now?
Yes.
Yay! Now we're getting into the big titles we're excited about for fiction and nonfiction for everybody. So these could be gifts or they could be for you. What have you? Oh, this isn't me. This is you.
No, it's
But
not.
okay. Great. So obviously, I think a lot of people are excited about the new Elena Ferrante title that's coming out, The Lying Life of Adults. It comes out September 1st, I think, this coming Tuesday. Hold on, my notes are still loading. Yes, indeed. It is also soon, actually, it is soon to be a Netflix original series. And oh, there's a chain. Sorry, everyone. Okay. It is also set in Naples, and the publisher's really excited about it. It's her first book in some time, our first new series. And then Monogamy by Sue Miller. We do have signed editions of this one coming. Sue Miller has a long backlist that is very popular. It's insightful, engrossing, haunting, a novel about marriage, love, family, happiness, and sorrow. And it's about a couple who've been married for a long time. Once the husband dies, the wife, Annie, she feels very lost. They had a really loving relationship, and she wonders how she'll move on without him. And then while she's still in the middle of mourning him, she finds out that he had actually been having an affair and for a long time, and she spirals into a dark place. So that is Monogamy. And then The Blind Light is one of these big, epic, or big, great American novel type novels. It has a big book feel, is what our rep told us. It's an absorbing portrait of friendship and rivalry that explores class divisions and the psychological legacy of the nuclear age from the 50s to the present. So it follows two soldiers from 1959 England, where they trained together, and follows them through from then to the present day, their different families and how the lives they went on to lead. So it's one of those books that I think is all about the details. It sounds like, a tale of anyone, but it's all in how the author has beautiful, nuanced writing in those relationships. Okay, and then yes, hashtag am reading. That's me. I am reading Earth Eater right now. It is a very short, slim book. It's a translation from Spanish. It takes place in Argentina. The main character does maybe, I know I'm reading it right now. I'm like, wait, she doesn't have a name, perhaps. She has that, is it called pica, or where you like to eat dirt? But what happens when she eats dirt that's associated with people is that she can see what's happened to them. So it's got a bit of that like magical realism element to it. And I can tell already that I'm going to really love this book, even though I'm early stages in on it. So people start coming to her asking for her to help them solve, what happened, cases of what happened to people, and how that affects her life. And also, I just have to say, this is the most beautiful cover. I feel it's my favorite one that I've seen on the fall lists. And now we're at fantasy.
Okay, and I'll take it from here. So first, we have. Oh wait, click the button, Julia, because there's a transition that I put in that I'm very excited about. Just click your mouse. Yeah. Okay. Okay. First, Master of Poisons comes out on September 8th. Award-winning author Andrea Hairston weaves together African folktales and post-colonial literature into an unforgettable fantasy about two people fighting to save their homeland from poison and death. Wow. Next, Hench, coming out on September 22nd. This is a smart, imaginative, and evocative novel of love, betrayal, revenge, and redemption, told with razor-sharp wit and affection, in which a young woman discovers the greatest superpower, for good or evil, is a properly executed spreadsheet. I'm very excited about this one. It's like fun data and science fiction and fantasy all wrapped into one. Great quote from Shannon McGuire. This book is fast, furious, compelling, and angry as hell. It's a beautiful deconstruction of the superhero genre, and I'm only a little bit annoyed that I didn't think of it first. Next up, Gregory Maguire making a second appearance. A Wild Winter Swan, October 6th. Gregory Maguire works his magic yet again here, transforming Hans Christian Andersen's classic story, The Wild Swans, into an Italian-American girl's coming of age set in the atmospheric 1960s New York. Finally, in fantasy, we have The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which comes out on October 6th of this year. This is a brand new story from the #1 New York Times bestselling author of the Shades of Magic series, the E. Schwab. A young woman makes a bargain with the devil to live forever, and in exchange, everyone forgets her. 300 years later, she meets a man in a bookstore who finally remembers her. What will happen? I don't know, but I very much want to know. Okay, and next we have literary fiction. First up, the Bass Rock, Bass Rock, which comes out on September 1st. The lives of 3 women weave together across centuries. In this new novel, Sarah, accused of being a witch, is fleeing for her life. Ruth, in the aftermath of World War II, is navigating a new marriage and the strange waters of the local community. And then 6 decades later, Viv is mourning the death of her father and cataloging Ruth's belongings in Ruth's now empty house. As each woman's story unfolds, it becomes increasingly clear that their choices are circumscribed in ways big and small by the men who seek to control them. And in sisterhood, there is also the possibility of survival and a new way of life as they come to discover. It's a very compulsively readable book, very deeply felt. Okay. Then Alice Hoffman, Magic Lessons, welcoming us back into this wonderful world. This comes out on October 6th. This is the origin story of her best-selling Practical Magic series, taking us to the 1680s and the witch trials of Salem, Massachusetts, and the indomitable Maria Owens, matriarch of the Owens family of witches. I cannot wait. Okay, and then On Fragile Waves, which comes out on December 8th. This is the haunting story of a family of dreamers and tale-tellers looking for a home in an unwelcoming world. This exquisite and unusual magic realist debut, told in intensely lyrical prose by an award-winning author, traces one girl's migration from war to peace, loss to loss, and home to home. Okay. And set in Australia also, which is fun. And that's it on literary fiction.
Okay, great. Quick intercession. Sorry, it's hot out here, guys. Stormbreak. This is another pre-order one that we're excited about. It is the conclusion to the Seafire series, which you've heard me recommend young adult fiction to anyone. I've probably recommended this series to you. It is about lady sailor pirate. They're not really pirates, but they're in a sort of dystopian world. This conclusion, I'm super excited about it. I haven't got to start reading it yet, but at the end of the last one, they've kind of overturned the original big bad guy, and now they're taking on the person who took his place. So they've pulled up in the place called Cloudbreak to prepare for an epic war, where the main character, Caledonia, has to make a gamble that will cost her everything, but the fate of the seas are in her hands, so she has to do whatever it takes to win. I'm excited. I just want to say, so if you've read the first one, which is Seafire, and the follow-up is, oh boy, I'm forgetting the name, Steel Tide, then you definitely want to check out this conclusion to the series. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I highly, highly recommend picking up Seafire and reading it. You can read it in a weekend easily. And moving on to some historical fiction, I think, with Kristen again. Or am I continuing?
Yeah, sorry, it just had to. No, it's me. I got it. Okay. First up, The Mystery of Mrs. Christie. So both this title rhymes, which is fun, and also, did you guys know that Agatha Christie just kind of like disappeared for a while and no one knew where she was? Because that truly happened, and this is a novel about it. Set in December 1926, when England unleashed its largest manhunt in history, and their search was not a convict or a war criminal, but Agatha Christie. So this goes into that. Fun, compelling, and of course also has some mystery and spookiness, considering that it's about Agatha Christie. Okay, and that comes out on. I forgot to write it down. That comes out on the 29th of December. Okay, The Belle of the Lake. I wish we could have Danielle talk about this because it was one of her favorites. And she might be doing it for a certain series that we do online. I don't know. I'm not going to commit her to that, but I think she might be doing it. But anyways, this comes out on September 29th. And the notes that I have, I think, are very funny. This book has it all: history, carpentry, fishing, religion, superstition, and duty. I didn't know that all of those things were the things I needed, but apparently I do in this book, Belle in the Lake. It's a compelling, immersive, and totally engrossing epic novel set in Norway of a young woman whose fate plays out against her village's mystical church bells. And next, we have Tsarina, which I believe comes out in November. I'll confirm that in one moment, which is set in the sexy and violent world of 17th century Russia. Larger than life, powerful, and completely riveting, Catherine is the heart of this novel, and her life was really like an ultimate Cinderella story. So before there was Catherine the Great, there was Catherine Alexeyevna. She was the first woman to rule Russia in her own right. And this is a sweeping first-person novel set during her rise to power, starting in St. Petersburg in 1725. So lots of politics and history and sex and murder and just all the things that I know I love in my historical fiction. Very excited about that one. And I said I was going to confirm when that comes out. And I will. So sorry. Well, we will. I will update you when I find out when it comes out. I think we can go to the next one. Next slide. Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay, so for some science fiction and dystopian, which is one of my favorite genres, first we have Ring Shout, which comes out on October 13th. And this is it's a great packaged book as well. It's a hardcover book, but it's under $20, which you don't see it often. It's just got like the craziest cover. That black and white and red is just so compelling. So this is a dark fantasy historical novella that gives a supernatural twist to the KKK's reign of terror, as you can obviously tell by the cover. But it's literary with a historical bend. Takes place, or it was inspired by the Red Summer of 1919. And then Before the Coffee Gets Cold, you wouldn't think that this is dystopian or science fiction by looking at it, but which I think is also kind of neat and fun. But it's a really interesting concept. There is a very popular cafe in a Tokyo bus stop where you can go back in time as you want to. You just have to order a coffee, and then you get to go and time and space travel. Okay, Ready Player One, or I'm sorry, Ready Player Two. It's the sequel to Ready Player One, and that is coming out in in November. So that should be very, very exciting. And yep, everybody loves Ernest Cline. Okay. Next up, I think it's supposed to be Julia, but I think she stepped away, so I can go ahead and do it. Last Kids on Earth. This is one of our pre-order features. And we will we'll have a splat ball and signed book plate here for anybody who does a pre-order. Just the next installment of The Last Kids on Earth. Very exciting. Okay. And then that will take us to young adult. Julia, are you there? Are you with us?
Hello, I'm checking someone out right now.
Okay, I already talked. You can go to the next slide. I already talked about this.
Okay. Got it. I'll be one more member.
Okay, Okay. So I'm going to try and access Julia's notes and tell you about Fable while she's checking somebody out during our outdoor sale. If you're still watching with us and want to come say hi, we are having an outdoor sale today. Okay, so Fable, super fun, beautiful book. 17-year-old Fable enlists the help of a young trader to get off an island filled with thieves so she could demand a place of her own on her father's powerful ship crew. Great, fun, fantasy, epic. Comes out next week. Among the Beasts and Briars, it comes out on the 23rd of September. This is by Ashley Poston, who is actually a South Carolina author. She lives up in the Midlands, I think. Anyways, she's great. She's wonderful. We love her. And this is a start to an original fantasy series by Ashley Poston. Her previous book was called Heart of Iron. In this, Ceres is forced on the run, and her only companions are a small fox from the garden, and a strange and powerful bear, and the magic in her veins. And there you go. And she has to save her home using her magic and other people's magic. I believe Julia read this. I have not, so I apologize for my very terse description. But you can send us a message and she'll tell you more about it. Okay, then finally, Each of Us is a Desert by, what is this? I cannot locate the notes on this. I'm so sorry.
I'm back. Sorry.
Okay. You can go to Each of Us is a Desert. I touched on Fable and Among the Beasts and Briars.
Okay, sure. Yes. Each of Us a Desert is, I'm not on the right page. It is part of the Own Your Magic campaign by McLean. And it's a coming-of-age fantasy about finding home and falling in love in the midst of the dangers of a desert. It is magical realism for a younger audience, and it has the main character, Soshito, I think is what you say. She is destined to wander the desert alone, speaking her troubled village's stories into its arid winds. Her only companions are the blessed stars above and enigmatic lines of poetry magically strewn across the dusty dunes. And her one desire is to share her heart with a kindred spirit. So that is where the story goes. It sounds absolutely gorgeous, and I love the imagery of the desert background. And then I just wanted to add one thing about Fable, which is that I added it here because I was able to read this one, and I accidentally read it in one night, and so it was just so compelling and fabulous. I wanted to add that extra note about it. Oh yes, and then for another pre-order quick take is the finale to Saba Tahir's Ember in the Ashes series, A Sky Beyond the Storm. And if you pre-order the book, Penguin Random House has a free gift that you can send them your receipt, and they will send you a cool mug that goes along with the book. We also just got back in all the first 3 books, Ember in the Ashes, Reaper at the Gates, and Torch Against the Night. So if you need to get caught up, or if you're interested in checking out the series, you can get a copy from us. And then we have some more young adult books. And yeah, so these are the final few that we were going to talk about today. First is Tiffany Jackson's Throne. This is like sort of a rip from the headlines type book, sort of similar to maybe something like The Hate You Give, about a young woman who wakes up and finds that the person that she was with the night before, Corey, is dead. And then she doesn't remember anything about what happened. But obviously the police and have another story, and then the person who was found dead is like a famous person, and so his fan base believes that something nefarious happened. Then another fun one for book lovers is This Is All Your Fault, which is about some young part-time workers at a bookstore who have to band together when the store they work at might go out of business. They don't like each other very much at first, but I believe they come together to make it all work in the end. And then we wanted to mention Sky Hunter is the new book coming out by Marie Lu. She returns to sci-fi in this one, and it's going to be super cool. It's out September 20th. Another huge world-building type novel from Marie Lu. And then finally, The Truth Project is another Own Voices story by Dante Medina. I believe it was about a tribe, like a native. Okay, my notes aren't loading very well. It's an indie. Yeah. Okay. So the main story follows a young woman who discovers that she is the product of an affair, and her dealing with that. And the main question, like cooking line, if your life began with a lie, how can you ever be sure of what's true? So those are the books that we've picked out for you guys. Thank you for bearing with us through this journey of technological intrigue and literary fun, we hope. We will hope to see you come by the sale later today and continue to ask us about these books coming out later this fall. Any closing questions, Kristen? Or closing comments?
Nope. Thank you for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.